Hi everyone, it's Dawn from Crafting on the Green, and this is card number 1 from your January craft kit using the adorable Kangaroo and Company stamps and dies. So, love this stamp set so much. So we're going to be using the large kangaroo, the bunch of hearts, the little hearts, and we're going to use Love You Much. So we'll get those all ready. Now from your card kit, you want to take a small Whisper White layer, Magenta Madness matte, and a card base. So first of all, what I'm just going to do is stick all these together. So take your glue. First of all, we shall pop on the Whisper White layer onto the Magenta Madness matte. There we go, just like that. And then I'm just going to do the same on the Magenta Madness and stick that onto the card base. Okay, first step done. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that to one side. Now we need some Whisper White scrap, a piece of your Whisper White A4 card, and you want to cut it into quarters because it will just be easier to get through your die cutter. But I'm just going to use some pieces of scrap for this one. And what we want to do is stamp our kangaroo. Ooh. I'm going to stamp him onto a piece of the Whisper White. There we go. And we're also going to stamp one of the bunches of hearts. And we want quite a few small hearts. So I'm going to do 4 of them. Actually, I can probably do it all on this one. Save paper. I'm making sure I leave enough room around everything to get the die in place as well. You don't want it too close, just in case you have issues there. So I'm going to colour these in, and for the kangaroo I'm going to use light and dark crumb cake. So I'm just starting with the light, and I'm going to give it a good covering. Okay. So you can colour these as you wish really, but I do love the light and dark crumb cakes. They work so well together. Okay, so that's the light. Now my dark has a bit of a fuzzy end on it at the moment, but that's okay. I have ordered a new one. I think I've been a bit harsh on that, but it's fine for the purposes of blending. So I've just gone with a bit of dark, and then I'm going back over it with the light again. As you see, it just starts blending in and dulling it down just a tiny bit. So I'm going to do the same on the face. we go. Maybe add a bit on the tail as well. So what you can do is use the other side of the blend. It does come with two sides, as you see. I want it to have a slightly darker tail. But you can colour in as you wish. You don't have to use light and dark. You don't even have to use blends. You can use what you have. There we go. Right. So that's my kangaroo almost done. For her little nose, I'm just going to use Rococo Rose Light. Okay. So now for the hearts, I have got light and dark Magenta Madness because that will match the cardstock. As you see, sometimes when you take off the lid it might splatter, so I always try and do it away from what I'm working on just in case it does that, because we don't want to risk you getting splatters all over the place. So I'm just going to colour some of the hearts in dark and some of them in light. Okay, so that was the dark and then this is the light. You can just see the difference there. Such a lovely bright pink, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. And then just the other two. Okay, so now we want to do some die cutting. So the dies that we're going to need, we're going to need the one that looks a bit like a tab, and we want the kangaroo, the bunch of hearts and the small hearts. Now the bunch of hearts, when you look at it, it has a little triangle peak at the bottom, which will help you find which one's that one and which one is the bunch of flowers. So let's get the die cutter out. Right, so I hope you can see that there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little piece of washi tape just to help hold some of them in place. If you're just doing one at a time, to be honest, you don't really need to use the washi tape. It tends to stay in the same place. But because I'm going to do a few cuts at a time, I just want that to stay there. Hopefully, yeah, I've left enough space there. That's good. Right, now we are going to have to run it through 4 times because of the hearts, but that's fine. And if you want to, you can choose to do more hearts. Right. Ooh. Okay, so we've got our little tab. Hi there, I had a few technical difficulties and apparently it missed off half the video. So I've brought us back to when I have just finished doing the die cutting, as I think that's where I roughly got to when I was running it through the machine. So what we want to do now is add the bunch of hearts onto the tab. So we're just going to get a bit of glue, pop it just along the edge of the tab, if it will come out. There we go. And I'm just going to stick that roughly in the middle there. I'll give that a second to stick. There we go. And while we wait for that to dry, I'm just going to add some mini dimensionals onto the hearts, because we will use those in a minute. Okay, right, so they can go there. This should now be dry enough. With the die cut, it does cut a slit in the pouch, which is ideal, so we can just pop that straight in there. Now if you want it so that you can take this out and have a little message on there, then what you want to do is make sure that you don't stick anywhere near that, because if it gets stuck, it's obviously not going to come out. However, I'm not going to worry about that for this card, and so what I am going to do is just pop a bit of glue underneath it, and then I'm just going to pop some glue all over the kangaroo, and I'm going to get it stuck onto the card. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to add a little bit of ivory underneath, just to add a little bit of a shadow. Just like that, just so it looks like he's on the ground. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is take the heart stamp again, and we're just going to add some hearts, just like this. And then I'm going to colour it in again using the Magenta Madness light and dark pens. And we don't need to worry about it bleeding through the back, because we've now got 3 layers on here. Okay, now we can attach our die cut hearts, and I can just go in between the other hearts. And you can make as many of them on dimensionals and die cut or stamped as you wish. Right, next we want to use the Love You Much stamp. However, I don't want it to say love you much, I want it to say love you. So what I'm going to do is use a post-it note. As you can see, here's one I used earlier. And I'm going to cover up the word much. Okay. It's slightly fiddly because it is a tiny little stamp, but it's worth the effort. So you'll see there that by covering up the word much, all I've done is inked up love you. You see? So I'm going to do that again. Just have a quick check to make sure. So I might have caught the edge there slightly. So if you do, that's fine. You can just run your finger over it or get baby wipe, whichever one's easiest, and just wipe it off. And if it gets too much, just wipe it all off and try again. Right. I'm just going to do one more, cover it up again. There we go, and that can go there. And there we go. That's it. That is card number 1, which makes a lovely little Valentine's card. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you again shortly for card number 2 from your January craft kit. Bye bye.